Look, this is a moment that once took place inside the Los Angeles Lakers practice facility. Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves were both wearing Jared Vanderbilt's jersey. They admire Vanderbilt for his defense, almost like they're trying to channel that same ability through it. But now, Vanderbilt seems to be drifting further away from them. From once being the Lakers' defensive anchor to a regular DNP, how did Vanderbilt fall this far? And all of this happened in less than 2 seasons. Let's rewind to the middle of the 2022-23 season. When Vanderbilt was traded from the Utah Jazz to the Lakers, he immediately became a key piece in their defensive system. Under head coach Darvin Ham, who emphasized defense above all else, Vanderbilt thrived. At 6'8" with a 7'1" wingspan, he could switch from guarding point guards all the way to power forwards. That kind of versatility gave Ham unprecedented flexibility in his rotations. In the first round of the playoffs that year against the Memphis Grizzlies, he forced Ja Morant into averaging 4.2 turnovers per game. In the second round against the Golden State Warriors, he nearly neutralized Stephen Curry. His presence allowed the Lakers to play a much more aggressive switching scheme, easing perimeter pressure on Anthony Davis and freeing LeBron James to focus on orchestrating the offense. The Lakers rewarded him with a 4-year, $48 million extension. At that time, he was the most essential gear in the system, the embodiment of the team's defensive identity. But now, that gear seems quietly removed, left sitting beside a machine that keeps running without him, listening to the noise, but no longer knowing when he'll be needed again. From defensive cornerstone to DNP regular, the turning point may trace back to what once seemed like an ordinary night in early 2024. On February 2, 2024, against Boston, he went all out for a steal, rolled his ankle, and suffered a severe right ankle sprain. Vanderbilt missed the remainder of that season. That injury became the turning point of his career. In the following offseason, he underwent surgeries on both feet. In May, he had surgery on his right foot and also had a bone spur removed from his left. But the recovery process didn't go smoothly. In December, fluid built up in his left knee, delaying his rehab repeatedly. It wasn't until January 26, 2025, after nearly a year away, that Vanderbilt returned against the Warriors. In that game, he played 12 minutes off the bench, recording 2 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 steals. After the game, LeBron praised him highly. LeBron said Vanderbilt looked no different, still flying around the court, making impacts that don't fully show up in the box score. In the summer of 2025, the Lakers fired Ham and hired J.J. Redick as the new head coach. J.J. made it clear, the team needed players who could space the floor and contribute in transition. And Vanderbilt's skill set fundamentally conflicted with that vision. The numbers don't lie. In the 2025-26 season, Vanderbilt shot just 28.6% from 3, on only 0.6 attempts per game, offering almost no spacing threat. Even more concerning, he shot just 56.3% within 5 feet of the rim. He provided virtually no ball handling either. Advanced metrics paint an even harsher picture. With Vanderbilt on the floor, the Lakers were outscored by 5.8 points per 100 possessions. Without him, they outscored opponents by 3.5 per 100. In today's NBA, where spacing is everything, a player who can't shoot, struggles to finish, and only defends the perimeter is rapidly losing value. JJ's rotation decisions reflect that reality. Even with injuries piling up and perimeter defense needed, he preferred players like Jake LaRavia and Gabe Vincent over Vanderbilt. On April 7, 2026, the tension finally boiled over. In a game against the Oklahoma City Thunder, just 16 seconds into the second quarter, JJ called a timeout and subbed Vanderbilt out. That move immediately triggered visible frustration. Vanderbilt walked over to JJ, who was setting up the plays, to voice his frustration. The two got into a heated exchange. Austin and assistant coach Nate McMillan had to step in and separate them. After that moment, Vanderbilt never returned to the game, finishing with just 5 minutes played. JJ didn't even put him back in during garbage time. Perhaps to avoid further hurting his numbers, and preserve some remaining trade value. 10 years ago, a defensive specialist like him would still have a stable place in the league. But today, in the era of 3 and D, the 3 matters more than the D. Without a reliable outside shot, defensive value gets severely diminished, because opponents can ignore him completely, pack the paint, and clog driving lanes. That's exactly why the Lakers' offense struggles when he's on the floor. His presence simplifies the opponent's defense, and compresses his own team's spacing. One major injury, one coaching change, one shift in system, that's all it takes for a former key rotation player to fall out of the rotation entirely. Vanderbilt's time with the Lakers may be quietly approaching its end. And what he might be saying goodbye to is not just the Lakers, but possibly the NBA itself.